After the ball is over, after the skein is done, after the die lot's finished, and you are short just one, many a knitter has made a tearful and desperate call, pleading with their local yarn shop, go after that ball.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Pen, Hook, and Needles podcast, episode 488. Today is Monday, January 17th, 2022, as we are recording. My name is Marlisha, also known as Lady Furnico.
And I'm Talia, also known as Franciscan Gypsy.
We want to welcome all new and returning viewers to the Fun in the Woman Cave. If you're new, we're glad you found us, and we hope you will stay. If you are returning, we're always glad to have you back. If you are in the shadows, either new or returning, please feel free to press the little subscribe button on your right so that you'll get notifications, the little bell as well, so you get little notifications when we post a podcast. I guess that's all I have to say about that. I kind of got derailed.
Not quite sure why, because it wasn't like I was talking to you this time.
No, I just said something different than what I normally say.
Oh, okay.
And so,
but you can't blame it on me this time.
No. I hope you're staying warm. It is freezing here. We have icy roads and not lots of snow to people like in New England or anything, but we have snow and we have ice. So everybody is home for the holiday, but also because of the roads.
The birds finally knocked some of the seed off the feeder, so now the little birds are on top of the snow, eating the seed on top of the snow.
Yeah, my husband went out to try and shovel, and it's like, it's when you crunch, you have the weight and then you go boom. It's not like regular snow where you just kind of clump through.
You got a layer of ice.
Ice, yeah. So, yeah. We don't know if he'll be able to go into work tomorrow either. So, I know Davina's hoping that he can stay home another day. But, yes, that's what's happening here. If you guys have that kind of weather, please stay safe. Mm-hmm. Stay in if you can, and enjoy tea and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see here.
You have more Project Size 7?
Yeah, I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know what it is. It's okay.
Well, you probably don't have your number of frogs on there. That's very confused.
That's another thing. Yeah, I was going to say something, because I always have the whole thing about new returning and the shadows join. Okay, they know. Okay.
Did you say anything about our PHN home at freeforums.net?
No, I didn't. That's what I was missing. If you want to be a part of the alongs, the camaraderie and all the back and forth comments and things like that happens on our homepage, which is phnpodcast.freeforums.net. That's phnpodcast.freeforums.net, and all the information of this kind of thing is in the description box below the video. Okay, now I have in my tea, this is what my daughter's head looks like. Okay, Ty gave me this mug a couple Christmases ago. Oboe head. You can ask somebody. Okay. I have an Adagio tea. It's a fandom blend. The blend is called Cosmic Owl. And I didn't write down what all that's in it, but there's, I know there's black tea and rooibos tea and chocolate flavor and things like that in here. And at first I wasn't sure what I thought about it, but it smells really good.
Well, it's probably a tea that needs to settle.
And once it's settled, even though I did the tea bomb with the sugar in it, I had to stir it a little bit.
Right. Well, also, tea just as it cools seems to naturally, the flavor just seems to come out a little bit more.
And the tea sugar doesn't mask the flavor. No. It just enhances it.
It's not like when you're having sweet and low or something, and you can actually taste the aftertaste of the sweet and low. You don't realize until you try tea sugar, and you're like, oh.
That's a difference.
That's a difference.
You can actually taste the tea and not just and you don't have that aftertaste.
Yeah. I can taste the rooibos, which I'm not terribly fond of rooibos, so...
I don't think there's rooibos in here. I think it's black tea and
honeybush. You said rooibos.
I did say, I think it's black and black tea and honeybush. But honeybush, I think, is a form. It's a, if not a form, it's a like a branch.
I feel like I'm tasting rooibos in it.
Well, it's in the same family, I think.
I don't think so. I mean, they're all teas use the same, basically the same plant, but
I remember them saying something about the
Cosmic Owl.
sweetness and stuff like that. That
usually I don't have a problem with I'm looking up Cosmic Owl.
excuse me.
With honeybush, usually.
It's not as astringent as some black teas can be.
Well, you also did it at a lower temperature.
Yeah.
Cosmic Owl. All right, let me tell you. You know what? It might be the cranberry, or it has raspberry.
Okay, that's the bitterness.
That's what I don't care, because I have consistently been kind of if there's because it's a shame because I usually like teas with rose petals, but the raspberry's outstripping everything else for me.
Are there rose petals in this?
Yeah,
Okay.
accented with marigold flowers and rose petals, but if there's raspberry in there, that explains it, because I haven't found that I've really cared for things with raspberry in it.
I know that I like raspberry iced tea sometimes. I prefer the peach, but raspberry. But I don't particularly care for the hot tea with raspberry. I like the blackberry.
Although you've had a couple that you've liked.
Yeah, but I think that's where the astringency comes in. I've been maybe blaming black tea, and maybe it's not completely black tea.
Although there's
I know
a
that
couple,
cocoa nibs too.
you don't seem to taste raspberry the same way I do.
Yeah.
Because we noticed that with a tea that I had to dump because you thought it was a weak tea, and all I could taste was the raspberry, and I thought it was terribly sour.
But raspberry leaves, not raspberry.
I thought it said raspberry leaves.
Yes, but I said raspberry leaves, not raspberries.
Regardless, either or I don't care for.
Yeah.
I think it had both, and I
Okay.
think this one has both too.
Okay, so what are
So
you
that
drinking?
explains why I don't care for that. Okay, so this, I had nausea this morning, so I'm doing peppermint. Nausea's, gone. I had ginger ale and, gluten-free, dairy-free pretzels, and that helped.
Oh, Ty, I found in Lean Cuisine a gluten-free pizza.
But it's not dairy-free.
But it's not dairy-free.
I found multiple, remember I told you, DiGiorno's has a gluten-free pizza. If only it was dairy-free.
Well, this one had the cauliflower crust and everything.
You see, I would have been excited if it's because DiGiorno's is beautiful crust. They are known for their crust.
Yeah. But you don't know if it would still be the same with the gluten-free.
It was actually a nice thick crust.
But you still don't know if it would be the same.
I mean, it wouldn't be the same, but knowing DiGiorno, they would make it taste good. I have a lot of confidence in DiGiorno and their ability to do pizza.
Oh, this is peppermint. I was thinking
Yeah.
it was funny because you said peppermint. I thought it was a happy birthday, so I'm like, this tastes like pepper. Yeah, it wasn't quite what I expected.
Well, you know why you thought it was happy birthday? I took this with me,
Yeah.
forgetting that I didn't have happy birthday in here.
Yeah. Okay, so
I'm gonna save happy birthday maybe for my birthday, or maybe have a small cup of it the day before, and have it as a latte on my birthday.
right. And this is what I'm having, Cosmic Owl. It's a fandom. I don't know anything about the fandom. I think it's a fandom. It's got the higher price. You can only get the
Well,
10.
no, it might not be it's a fandom, but doesn't mean it's connected to anything. Could be that someone
Right.
just likes owls.
Right.
It's not could possibly not be a reference to
I think
anything.
I picked up nearly all the owl tins that they had. No, I don't have any owls. Nothing.
Well, I'm
else.
looking forward to it's a tea toward the end of the month, and it's called like Yarn Bunny or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's got yarn and bunnies. I mean, I am predisposed to like this thing. I'm really hoping I do.
Yeah, it's always sad when you are really wanting to like something and then you don't.
Well, that's why I'm so excited. I really like the Talia tea.
Yeah, I really like that. I actually have that in my wish list.
Yeah, that's going to be one that's going to be a staple. I think.
The other one, I have to make sure if I have it. What was the one you gave me yesterday that was a latte?
Oh, that was actually Hercule Poirot's Christmas.
And I gave you that.
You had given it to me because it was too astringent for you when you had it straight. I steeped it for a lower temperature, and I made it as a maple latte, and
It was excellent.
It was excellent.
It was
really good.
It was like almost like hot chocolate, but not quite. It wasn't as sweet as a hot chocolate.
Poirot
Overpowering.
would not approve.
Of what?
If he has hot chocolate, it's sweet.
Definitely. Yes, he has a sweet tooth. Okay. Anyway,
That explains his felt.
yes, because he doesn't change sizes. The tailor got it wrong.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, moving on to our longs. Our PHN Christmas All Year Long Cal 2022, not 2021 as it says in my notes for whatever reason.
You just haven't updated it.
Yes. Wait a minute. What is this?
We're all done with that.
That's done.
You just haven't deleted from
your
notes.
What happened was I hadn't changed out my notes.
You just went past 22 Mom.
I did?
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, that's the prizes. All right. Oh, speaking of prizes, I just heard from the last 2 prize winners. Thank you for getting back to me. I'm not sure when I can get your prizes out given the weather, but I'll do so as soon as I possibly can. Thank you for getting back to me. Okay. PHNT and Tails Cal Lao 2022 is off and running. It's fun to see all the stuff in there. This is a year-long Cal Lao. It runs January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022. Once we hit January 1st of 2023, we are finished. We are planning on closing the thread midnight Eastern Standard Time going into 2023, okay?
Could be a little before, could be a little after.
Yeah, just depending on who closes the thread, okay? Projects must be knit, loom knit, or crocheted. Previous whips are allowed, but must be worked on during the along and must reflect the theme of tea and or tails, okay? Projects must be tied. Okay, I said that already. See here. Tea and or tails. If you have questions about whether or not something fits, contact us. Tie is not a little hard to get to. If I'm tagged, I usually get to you pretty quickly. Rena's right on top of everything, and she's been with us for quite a while, so she knows all the ins and outs. Patty, more than happy to help you as well. So our moderators are,
and
very
we have
helpful.
some people who aren't moderators.
We have
who
unofficial.
Are also, if they see a question, they will answer to the best of their ability, or they will tag us.
They will tag us. Yes, we have very, very good members and moderators. We're very blessed. Okay, let me see here. 1 whip project per week. If whenever it's finished, we have 4 quarters that we're dividing this into. So we'll have usually we have 2 prizes each quarter that we give out, and then we will have an overall prize for the entire year. So if we do if there were 40 total entries, and let's say they were divided into 10 each, okay? So the first quarter, 1 to 10 would be what we pull, then 11 to 20, and then for the second quarter, and then 21 through 30 for the third quarter, and 31 through 40 for the fourth quarter. But once we get to the end of the year and we pull for that 1 prize, that will be, again, 1, or actually 2, because the first one is
usually
2 through 40. So everybody gets a chance at the end of the year. We can't do the huge ones like we did the first couple of times we did it, but it's a nice prize.
Yeah.
The hashtag is hashtag PHNT and Tails 2022 on Instagram. Our featured patterns and featured yarns, my yarns and pattern, Talia's patterns, Laura Concert's yarns and patterns, and she has her yarns are Lollipop Girl yarns, and I think her patterns are Laura Concert's
I'm
designs.
pretty sure they are Laura Concert's designs.
And then we also have and those are always featured, those things, as long as they fit the parameters of the theme, okay? Other things for this particular along, any Bakery Bears, Tea and Tails pattern or yarn, any Mom Cook or Joanna Johnson Tea and Tails themed patterns, okay? They are all featured. If you use a pattern only that's featured for an FO, that gets 2 chances at a prize. And if you have a featured yarn and a featured pattern in an FO, that is eligible for 3 chances at a prize, but you are responsible for your own multiple postings. Let's see. The only prizes I know about right now, I have them, I just haven't put them aside yet. The only ones I know about for sure is a donation from Looney Hiker of a wonderful sock pattern that she created. So we're very grateful for that, and that's a first quarter prize. And our end of year prize is something that was given to us by Emma. And we were originally going to put it toward the year-long prize this past year, but we decided to move it this year because Laura Concert had given us a prize that we were afraid if we kept it too long, we might use it. So we went ahead and gave it first. Now, and we're very grateful for all of our donors, donators, whatever you want to call them, okay? The PHN Ready, Set, Go Cal Lao 2022 is also off and running and doing well. This is for the things, starting all the things. Okay, the things, this runs January 1st through March, 3 days has September, April, June, and November, all the rest of the January 1st through March 31st. Okay, so once we hit April, it's done. This is for starting all the new things. Okay, you have to have started this thing January 1st or later. And by January 1st, I mean January 1st of 2022. Okay, and you may frog something and count it as a chance for a prize in January only. So you have about a little less than 2 weeks to put frogged objects in for a chance for the prize. But the caveat for that is you have to have a picture of the project, and then next to that picture with the project, a picture of the frogged item in the same post, so we can see the before and the after, and that will give you an extra chance at a prize for something that is frogged. Okay, yeah. One chance. Just make sure you post both pictures in that post. Okay,
no extra points for using mom's yarn or
no, this is just no. Although for the along itself,
yes, just not for frogs.
Just not for frogs. If you let's see here. Most of the things are the same here, you know, knit, loom, knit, or crochet. There's no theme to this except for the fact that it has to be started January 1st or later. We'll have prizes, yes. The normal, I just lost the word, featured. The featured yarns and patterns are the same here. It's just my yarns and my one pattern, Talia's patterns, and Laura Concert's yarns and patterns. These are featured here as long as you use them in a project that has started January 1st or later, and the same rules apply for that. 2 chances at a prize if you just use one featured item, and if you use a yarn and a pattern that's featured, 2 chances at a prize for the finished object only. No, 3 chances. It's in the thread. Okay, you guys are part of the group if you're doing the alongs. Yeah. It's in the group. It's in the thread. Okay, let's see here. That actually takes care of that for the alongs.
So you have more projects than me by 1.
And I'm not even sure if I worked on all these because I've gotten into a very bad habit of not changing my show notes right away. Okay, I'm not really sure if I worked on this. In fact, I think I might not have worked on this because I can't find my... Oh, there it is. Okay. Maybe I did work on it.
Which one is it?
My blanket.
Oh, yeah, I got mine.
In fact, I think I might have because I think I had you check to see if I had read my...
I feel like you're right. I can't remember for sure, but yeah. I feel like you're right.
This is my Welcome Little One project from the On the Porch Blanket Knitting Pattern by 5410 Studio. So this is my Bare Necessities colorway, which means it's essentially bare yarn. And you can see not much has been done on it. But, yeah, the stitch markers, the little turtles are from Cappy, from the Yarn and Us, when she was the Yarn and I. And the little bear that I have on here to mark my right side is from Victorian Studios, which is Maureen. And she created that from scratch. She did not just buy this, she created it.
Yes.
Okay, very talented person.
Yes, indeed.
So that takes care of that for me.
Okay, so for me, let me take my show notes off my hip. Okay, let's see. Okay, so the first one for me is in my Kitties in the News bag, and I'll be holding up the bag to pick the news story.
I'm all tied up here. Okay. Oh,
okay. So,
you just read that one?
I might have, we can do...
how about this? No.
Do this one? We haven't done that one in a while.
Okay.
Okay. So, Fish and Chips Union salutes a winner of Cutest Boss Award. Cattown's favorite fish and chips vendor was awarded the coveted Cutest Boss Award for the 3rd year in a row. Pete Persian, aka Pretty Boy, was stunned to hear that even in his 9th life, he is still the cat's meow when it comes to his customers.
Huh.
It's all in the fish, he insists. My love for fish is something you can't help but taste. Of course, his dashing good looks and show-stopping physique don't hurt.
How can you tell with all that fur?
It's Pretty Boy's 3rd straight win in this category. His daughter Dottie says, Dad really loves his job. He helps a lot of customers have more and better lives, and I'm super proud. Next year, I think it will go to one of the young kittens, says Pete. I think Tomcat Cruise has a good shot. Time will tell, but till then, gals, it's a year to visit Pete's Fish and Chips.
Mm.
And here's Pete himself. Right there.
Himself. There he is himself.
In all his
Himselfness.
selfness. There we go. And that is your news from the Kitty Chronicle this today. It's the late edition.
It's only 11:30 or something.
Maybe we got the late edition late. Maybe we just didn't pick up the paper till now.
Yeah.
So in My Kitties in the News bag by Silver Shade USA is my Ann sweater. It is a Joanna Johnson pattern from her Green Gables Knits pattern book. I call the project Lake of Shining Waters. Knitting in Knit Picks Indian Treasure in the colorway Sapphire Heather. This is a sport weight baby alpaca. I mostly work on this on the podcast, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. That's mostly when I work on this, too.
I usually don't change projects like Mom does during the podcast. I usually just pick the one and I stick to it.
I want to show projects and the way my weeks seem to be running. I don't get a whole lot done otherwise.
I feel like I'm getting really close on the sleeve.
Yeah, you look like you are.
So, I'm almost wondering if I should hold off on knitting on this too much more. I might overshoot. And I don't want to overshoot. It's hard to tell unless I measure it. Yeah, I'm getting pretty close. I might want to wait. So I'll put this away and work on a sock or something. Because I don't want to overshoot.
Suck it to me, suck it to me, suck it to me, suck it to me.
Because it can be kind of annoying to overshoot and then have to take back your work.
Right.
So.
Is that supposed to be a 3/4 sleeve?
No.
Doesn't look very long on the other side.
No, it is. It is. It comes down.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Because you got to remember, it's not a sweater that closes or anything. And
Yeah. I checked the picture of that sweatsuit type thing, the warm-up suit that I asked you to help me measure. And it is a drop sleeve, it looks like.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's all I have to really say about this one. It looks like I'm about to head into the next ribbing section.
all right, let me just.
On the home stretch, although that home stretch is like 8 inches long.
The ribbing.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Well, by the time I'm done with the sweater, I'll be thoroughly sick of their broken rib.
Does that mean you're not going to want to do mine right away?
No, because yours doesn't start with the rib. I mean, I'm not going to focus on yours. I'll get it started.
Right.
But I have a couple other sweaters that are farther along, including your owl one.
I love my owl one.
So
I dyed the yarn for that one, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Yep.
That is Pennies from Heaven.
Yep.
Wait, was it Pennies from Heaven?
Yes.
Okay. Because I know you dyed Pennies from Heaven. Yes, because you dyed 2 batches of Pennies from Heaven. One for me and one for you.
Yep.
And mine was a little bit darker. I think it took it differently than the alpaca did.
I keep forgetting to put everything together here. I'm not going to be able to do this project if I don't keep my stuff together.
Gosh, Mom, keep it together.
I know what. Keeping it together is overrated. There. Okay. My next one. Oops.
It's a bunny.
Yes it is. Okay. Is my Comfy Cozy project from the Scrap Shawl pattern by Anastasia Sattel, and it's in my Ploverbird pink and purple bag. Let's see here. I don't remember doing a whole lot in this one.
Probably on the podcast.
Yeah. It grows. This is one of those like the Surabel that even if I don't work on it a lot, if I can do 1 or 2 rows, I get some growth on it. So this is. Let me see. Do I have it clipped? Okay. So this is what it's looking like so far, and basically this is a lot of Miss Babs. I think I might have some Malabrigo in here as well because I really like Malabrigo. I like the way it's turning out. It's pretty.
It looks nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all all I have to say about that, because you've seen this a million times, because I've done this running like a million times.
There's slightly different colors.
And I've got 3 on the hook right now. So,
Right.
It's not like,
Well, it's kind of like when I was working on all the forest floors. I had like 3 or 4 on the hook. On the needle at one point.
Right. So, yeah, that's all I really have to say about this one.
Okay.
Because it's going to come up again. I'm sure it's going to come up again later.
In my Adelaide Cottage bunnies bag that Laura Concert gave me. These are the Jemima socks by K.F. Jones. I call the project the Bullfinch socks. And the first sock's been done for a while now. So.
Very pretty.
Then I am so close to being able to think about the toe for this one. So here is the second sock. I mean, this has been getting a lot of work on it because A, the Jemima pattern is a nice simple pattern that I don't really have to think that much about. And then B, I really enjoy how West Yorkshire Spinners works up.
Right.
Even though they all have a slightly different feel to them.
Feel as in feel or feel as in...
Colorway you feel.
Okay.
No, the yarn all feels the same.
Okay.
Which is actually, once you wash it a couple times, it feels really nice on the feet. Hardy too. So yeah. Been enjoying this. Can't wait to have this pair of socks. Because the more socks I have in my collection, the better. Because then I don't have to wash quite as frequently. Wash the socks quite
I'm
frequently.
always afraid to wear mine when I'm working out or anything, so I won't put holes in them.
Well, you do know that. I mean, sometimes it takes me a while to get to darning, but I do darn socks. So
It's just I love I wear my socks, and I'm just one of those people that I like something, I don't want to use it.
which is silly because then it's not fulfilling its purpose.
I've gotten better about it. Then I find something and I resolve to use it, and then it gets lost.
You mean like the apron?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. My husband got me an apron. Those of you who know me know I have a tagline under my signature. It says, "With God, all things are possible." My husband found me an apron, and he got it for me for Christmas, and I wore it a few times, and then I put it in a box so I could show on the podcast. When we did our Christmas,
to the podcast.
it never made it to the podcast. I have no idea where it went. It makes me incredibly sad. But I was using it, so I was kind of annoyed that it went away. I don't know where it went.
You'd think it'd be hard to lose, too.
I know. I mean, it's this big kind of...
Well, it's like my bunny one. It has that kind of feel to it, like if you're going to barbecue.
Yeah.
So it's sturdy and not...
Well, it's not like canvas or cloth.
No, but
it's kind of a plastic.
It's kind of it feels like something that you wouldn't be able to accidentally throw away and not know you're throwing away.
I think it was still in the bag, and I'm wondering if it got tossed into something, or if something, because it was still in the plastic bag. But I put all the plastic bags together,
Right.
so I don't know where it went. So I'm hoping maybe it'll be in my birthday gifts. Maybe he got me another one. We'll see.
But if you lose this one...
Yeah. Wasn't meant to be. Let me put
Turn you into a goon.
Goon. Yeah. Let me.
Yeah, it's your shirt.
Yeah.
I was just scrolling through my show notes. I wasn't just looking at my phone.
Okay. My next. Did you do one?
Yeah, I did. I did the Bullfinch socks.
That was your second one?
Yeah.
Okay. Get that in here. Okay. My next one is in my Knit for Brains Owl Teapots bag. And this bag was given to me at Laura Concert. Isn't that a pretty bag? All the teapots. There's an owl teapot on here. Where's my owl teapot? I have to find the owl teapot before I can go on. There it is. See? Right there. It's not a menagerie. It's not a kitty. It's an owl. This is my... Whoops, that's not it. This is my Thorns
Hooded cow.
Hooded Cal.
Just throwing stuff all over the place, aren't you?
Yeah. Must have my temper tantrum. Must have my daily temper tantrum. There we go. Okay. This is the blue slate colorway of Miss Babs. And this is the Thorns Hooded Cowl. Trying to see where I'm at here. Okay, so I haven't done a whole lot because I think I did this last on the podcast. And This is a really nice pattern. I think I am going to start knitting and crocheting while we're watching TV again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, especially during the week when it's really kind of too late to eat more stuff.
Right.
I'm gonna, maybe the weekend I won't, but the weekday I'll just go ahead and knit or crochet, and I can do this, or I can do the comfy cozy shawl, or the, those kind of things that don't require a lot of attention.
Right. Because she's doing version 2 of the Thorin's Hooded Cow.
Yeah. And this one seems a lot lighter than Taya's.
Well, I mean, it is going to be, because that's a DK to my worsted here.
And that's a heavier worsted. I think that's almost an Aran.
And that's, that might be a heavier DK, but this is almost an Aran.
Yeah.
And mine your gauge might be slightly bigger than mine. But I think you'll find if you have it next to mine in that yarn, it won't be that much of a difference.
Right. And it's really fun because you're basically doing knits and purls in certain, what's the word I'm looking for? Certain orders, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a method, there's a rhythm to it. And so, it's just knowing what you're doing, keeping an eye on the rhythm, and then you're fine. I have to finish this particular set of knitting, and then I start decreasing, and then I go to the hood.
Oh, okay. I hadn't realized how close you were.
Well, I'm at the same place I was before, basically. I'm right in the middle.
Okay.
But see,
you don't mean decreasing. Okay, I see what you're saying. I hear decreasing, and I'm thinking like you're decreasing stitches.
It might have been a poor choice of words given the topic. Decreasing, I mean that I'm going to decrease the rows.
You mean you're going to go backwards?
Backwards, yes.
Because you worked your way up to a number.
And now I'm going backwards. Mm-hmm.
And now you're going backwards. Because she had like 17, she worked her way up to 17 rounds of knit rows interspersed by 1 round of purl.
Mm-hmm.
So she worked her way up to 17, and now she's going to go back down to 2 rounds in between the purl rounds.
Once I get to that point.
Yes, but that's what she's working towards.
Actually, I'm working toward 21.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is really fun. If you want to, this is a free pattern, and she's got like 4 variations or 5 variations.
It's 4 variations.
Of this pattern. And
I've knit all the variations.
Yeah, and it's a well-written pattern. If you are interested in getting a really nice pattern that doesn't break the bank because it's free.
Right.
You get a lot. Even if you had to pay for it, you get a lot.
Yes, you would.
It's very nice. And she has a tassel on the back of this.
I've never put a tassel.
I won't put a tassel on there.
And I wear one of these constantly.
Mm-hmm. And Davina loves hers.
Yes, she does.
So you might want to think about that. And we got this on Lovecraft, didn't we?
No. I found it on Ravelry initially. Mm-hmm. You can't get free patterns off of Etsy.
That's right.
I found some Ravelry initially, and then I got transferred to their website. Mm-hmm. Because it's a free pattern.
Because I picked it up a while back. I don't know if I was still on.
I gave it to you recently.
Okay.
I gave it to you since we've been off Ravelry.
Okay.
When I started my green one. I think it was my green one.
I forgot you were doing a green one.
It was Berlin's.
Right.
Because I have the red, I have the green, or maybe when I was doing the red one, because the red I actually had the yarn for. You gave me the yarn for the Berlin one. Mm-hmm. So when I did the red one,
is that the one we traded for
no,
I got the?
That was the Berlin.
Right, but you said I gave you that green yarn. Was that the one I traded for the Mad
Hatter?
Hatter?
Know what? I think I actually had the Berlin. You gave me your extra red. Because you were going to do a red and call it Balin's.
That's right. But
I had to take out part of a shawl. Mm-hmm. I had to take out a shawl I wasn't wearing. Mm-hmm. And then the yarn you gave me, and I was able to do the hood.
Right.
But the Berlin was the first one I did since my one I made a long time ago.
That's a really pretty color. That's one of that's Miss Babs, right?
Yes, and I can wear it with blues and greens.
It's one of the Miss Babs variegateds I do like.
Right. I'm a little picky about. I don't tend to like to do a lot of variegates in anything other than socks. Mm-hmm. And I'm not always
accessories.
And I'm not always fond of Miss Babs. Sometimes her repeats are too short for my taste. Mm-hmm. I like to have a little bit of a more of a pooling effect.
Yeah, that's what variegated is, more of the short repeats.
It's not as much my thing.
I prefer pooling or semi-solid or solid to variegated, to really strict variegated.
Because I actually don't keep my interest as much if there's a lot of variation, because then there's nothing to look forward to. It's like it's too much instant gratification. It's too busy. I want to have something to look forward to. Anyway, for me, in my Teapots bag from Laura, I'm going to call it Elephant's Teapots. There.
Not kitty teapots? Teapots?
The elephants are really cute.
Yeah, they are.
And I know there's a couple on the side that's near me. There's one here too.
There's a pink one and a blue one.
Yeah, so there's there's more elephants than any other one on here. So my elephant one. And in here, and Laura gave me that, and here is my Laura's hood. The pattern is a Thorns hooded cowl. And yeah, it's making progress slowly but surely. This is a heavier worsted, like we were saying, and I really love the spiraling that's happening.
It's pretty.
It's
gonna be really pretty when it's finished.
Oh, it is. It is. So yeah, I don't work it as often as I should because I've been distracted with socks. But when I do work on it, I really enjoy it, and this has been a good replacement for not having the sweater right here. This is also one that is really good if my eyes are bothering me.
Right.
Because it's a big yarn, big needles.
And I may have to try that in a worsted weight later on. Maybe
It's really nice the way it's in the worsted weight.
I have a hard time connecting in the round. If I wanted to do like, let's see.
I connected it for you in the round, didn't I?
Yeah, this time you did. See, they don't let me have the option. I guess what I would do is I could knit one, and then if it's in the round for a purl, would I knit it again if I did it flat?
Sorry, I'm having trouble visualizing what you're talking about.
Well, knit a row and then purl a row gives you stockinette, right?
Yes, because you're turning.
So, but if you're in the round,
In the round, knit a row, purl row gives you
garter.
garter.
So
Yeah.
if I knitted 2 rows and then joined the round, I'd have the same effect.
If you were supposed to start with the stockinette, yes.
Yes, okay, that's what I was wondering. Because I have a really hard time not twisting my stitches, but I can do 2, 3, 4 rows and then join it. So rather than have to depend always on Talia doing it, I would prefer to maybe do it that way and just seam it, 3 or 4 stitch seaming,
Right.
Is it my turn?
It is your turn.
Okay, let me just see if I can get to I want to get to the end of this round, not row, so I can feel like I made some progress on this. This is a fun, very fun knit. I just do love this color. Almost as much, maybe even more, depending on my mood, than the gray, the regular slate. Because it got a little more blue. It reminds me of Federal Blue, which I've always loved. Especially since it's kind of like in a paint or something like that. It's kind of a nice country or New England kind of. Oops.
It's a bunny.
He is. I'll get my drink in just a second. As soon as I get this, because I don't have anything to keep this on the needles. So
I forgot to show them I have a snowman mug.
Oh, yeah. Would you like to build a snowman? It's Olaf? Olaf.
No, he's not Olaf.
Olaf.
No, he's not.
He's cute Olaf.
He doesn't look like Olaf.
He's Olaf.
No, he's not.
Olaf.
Nope.
Okay, let me just, I've successfully waffled long enough.
Or unsuccessfully.
Okay. Let me get to my next, I lost
Your notes of show.
my show notes, yeah. I'm working off my phone once more because my show notes are not going to Kindle for whatever reason.
They're just not cooperating.
But every once in a while I have this. I'm not sure why it does that. Make sure that this is well away from my needles. Okay, there. And if you hear noise, that's the snowplows trying to get the ice off the roads.
I mean, it might not have been as bad if they started yesterday.
Yeah, put salt or whatever.
They didn't touch the roads yesterday. I'm not sure if they're like, tomorrow's a holiday. No one cares.
Yeah.
Although, healthcare workers still have to get to work.
And so do law enforcement.
So it's like...
Okay. The Madhatter Cal project from the Cerebel pattern by Sarah Sweetheart. And this is in my Silver Shed USA Green Star Wars bag. This one. So, I think I only worked on this one on the podcast too.
Possibly. I can't lose track. I lose track of how many things you work on the podcast. I can't keep track.
Can't keep track. This is probably long enough to finish already, but I want to use more of the yarn. Use more of the yarn. So it's Miss Babs Yowza in the Mad Hatter colorway, thus the very original title of this project. It's a DK weight. There was a time when they called this a light worsted.
Yes.
Which is similarly a DK weight. So it's very bright, and I'm looking forward to finishing it. I'm not usually a person that wears this kind of...
Now, I consider it bright, but it's not like bright.
It's bright enough.
It's got kind of a dark undertone to it.
I usually don't wear this kind of colors.
It's autumnal.
No,
autumnal bright.
I wouldn't call this autumnal.
Well, it's definitely not spring.
No, it's not.
Or summer.
I would call it winter. But,
okay, so it's a winter bright, which means it's got a little bit of almost a somber.
No, I wouldn't call that even that. But anyway, it's just, it's bright. It's not like neon bright.
Right.
But it's bright. And the only reason I'm keeping it, because I have this thought in my head that it'll look really nice with my black coat.
I'm sure it will.
Or a black outfit even, if I just wanted to have it, hanging down my, on either side of my shoulder, if I don't connect it,
Right.
I haven't decided if it's going to be a cowl or if it's going to be just a scarf.
Right.
Davina doesn't really want it, so I get my choice.
Right.
She's very particular.
Yes, she is.
She's very knitworthy, but she's very particular in what she likes, which she should be. I mean, there's no reason for her to take
I'd rather
something.
know before making something.
Yes.
Because
She'll hint.
Yeah.
She hasn't said anything recently, but she was like, I really like your blue day colorway, Mom.
She has said something recently. I was looking at a cloak pattern.
Right. I meant for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I told her, no way.
No way, Jose. No way, Josefina.
Because we don't even know you'd wear it.
Yeah, she just was...
She likes cables.
Yes. And she likes the idea of some of these things, but she won't wear it.
If she won't wear a shawl, she's not going to wear a cloak.
Daddy couldn't remember when I had my white shawl on yesterday, the Lala's shawl. He looked at it and he said, you made that? I said, yeah. Oh, he said, that's really pretty.
Thanks, honey.
And he says, what made you wear that with black? I said, because I don't have anything else that goes with it. And I said, besides, it's classic.
Right.
I had the
although your red one would have gone very nicely too.
It would have been too dark. I had the red boots, the wine, my kind of burgundy color boots, the full black outfit, the burgundy veil, and the white shawl. It was very classic.
You were in mourning for your lost childhood.
It was not, in fact.
Reference.
Yes.
Okay. So it is my turn, presuming you're done.
Yes.
So.
Actually, I was thinking of that other thing that I will not say the word. From the guy comes in and he's coming down with some belly dancer girl. I'm in mourning for my...
Yes.
I know it's kind of cut up for you guys to get the reference. If you get the reference,
yeah,
you guys are awesome.
Okay, so in my Silver Shed USA...
I'm gonna get shot.
Christmas ornaments bag that Brittany gave me. It's usually meant for Christmas ornaments. But I didn't use it for that. It'll go back to me for Christmas ornaments after this pair of socks. This is Christmassy. The pattern is Finished Line by Laura Smoot. Or Lara Smoot, excuse me. So that's one pair of socks.
That's really pretty.
And this poor pair of socks. Every other pair of socks is getting worked on.
I thought you said you stopped working on that.
I worked on it a little bit. I worked on it. What were we doing? We were doing tea time or something. And I was like, look, you're going to work on this. Because all I wanted to do is work on my West Yorkshire spinners. Because the yarn is actually softer for West Yorkshire spinners than this one.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me give you
Dragonfly Fires.
Yeah, it is. But this is more of a workhorse one. Feel that. And then I'm going to bring out my West Yorkshire spinners.
It's hard for me because my hands are sore. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Huh.
So this is softer, so this is what is more give, and that's what I want to work on.
And when I say my hands are sore, it's not the arthritis kind of stuff that... sometimes my hands get really dry. And you know when your skin catches on the yarn? Well, sometimes I'll pull. So I've got a cut right here and a cut right here, so whenever I push on it, it isn't happy with me.
So this got a little bit of work on it. Like I said, I'm having to make myself do it a little bit, just because I have yarn that's softer that I want to work on, and also I think I'm a little bit bored of the slip stitches.
Oh, okay.
It's really pretty. I love the effect. It's just a me thing. I don't want.
Well, you know,
I
I'm
will
just not
work-
into that right now.
Yeah, and I will finish this pair of socks. I mean, I have one sock done.
Well, Laura's a very talented designer.
Oh, and I think it's a gorgeous pair of socks.
I have to go back to. She gave me a lot of her patterns. I have to go back and see if I am now at the level where I can do them.
Yeah, because I now have a couple shawl patterns. I have a couple sock patterns. And I picked this one because it looked like it is the simplest of the ones that work with yarn that I wanted to use. Because I was looking for something for this yarn in particular. So, yes. I just need to get along with this.
Oh, I think I might have. What did I do here?
It'd be your turn.
Wait a second. I did something here that I shouldn't
Okay.
have. I'm not sure why I did that.
You shouldn't be doing things you shouldn't.
Yes, Oh, I see what I'm doing. I kind of got lost in the pattern,
Uh-huh.
and because I wasn't paying attention, so I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing here? Let me just I don't need to do that. Stop doing that. Okay.
Are you trying to do the other pattern?
I don't know. I really.
Oh, wrong notebook. This one goes to that pattern. I don't like to do this when I'm podcasting or anything because I'll get to talking and I'll forget to slip when I'm supposed to.
Right. All right, you know what? I'm going to pull back a couple of stitches, and I'm going to leave it there because apparently
Can't focus right now.
I can't focus. So when I get to the point where it's wrote, I can just do it.
Indeed.
I don't know why I'm not. Okay. That's the nice thing about the serval. I can just pull it back. You know? All right.
That's just the nature of crochet in general.
Yep. Well, sometimes you get things that are like you got me the Infancia de Recuerdos
Uh-huh.
because that one is like that. I tried the other one that came with it and I put it away. I just didn't like it. It wouldn't.
Yeah, because I think they came together. It was a set or something.
Yeah, I have to go back and look and see if I can find it again. I don't know if I wasn't in the right place for it still or what. You know, maybe.
And I'm not sure you'd be in the place where you want to crochet that much anyway, because it's a very lacy, both of them are very lacy patterns.
I love the Infancia de Recuerdos. I gave one to a friend of mine when she made her perpetual profession, and I have the other one. Let me see here. But I'm not sure I would do it again. Maybe, you know, when I get out of the phase I am right now.
Right.
Okay, the next project I want to show you is the By Special Request Shawl project from the Scrap Shawl pattern by Anastasia Sattel. And this is in my silver shed blue bag with, this is our, I'm going to call this our vintage
PHN.
logo, PHN logo bag. Okay?
The blue vintage one.
The blue vintage PHN logo bag. And this one I did some work on. I'm trying to get out of this blue row that I'm on. And I had gotten it all untangled during the last podcast.
Did you get retangled?
No, I don't think so, because I didn't work on it at that, because that's what I worked on the whole time I was doing this one. Here it is.
I think you got a little bit on it last time, because I remember you saying, now I've done more than pull back, or wind up, or whatever.
Okay. So, this one's quite large. This one has outstripped the one I'm doing for myself.
Look at that.
It is quite large. And I'm enjoying it immensely.
And she's not going to push herself to finish it by Wednesday, which is my birthday.
No, I will not push myself for that. I have to, and I'll talk more about it in the shop news and stuff like that, but I'm trying to get things done for the yarn kit. So that's why I do a little bit during the podcast on as many projects as I can, so I have something to show you guys. Otherwise, I wouldn't have anything to show you guys. I just sit here like a sphinx.
Like a sphinx, huh?
Sphinx.
I was going to say get a lump on a log.
I am not, in fact, a lump on anything. Okay, so yeah, this is a variety of yarns. There's some Mad Tosh in here.
Miss Babs, and Marigold Jen.
And Marigold Jen. So, yeah, because Taya gave me all this yarn to do for her when she wanted this shawl. So, let me see here.
Okay, so next for me
Why this keeps getting...
is in my Silver Shed USA books bag. Now, I realized I have a little book that I was given for Christmas where I can track yarns. I was like, I'm not tracking my whole yarn stash. So I decided to track my Worcestershire Spinners yarn stash so that I can keep track of what I've done socks in. So I was like, yeah, so I don't get any doubles or whatever. And when I was doing that, I realized that I'm not working with the peacock yarn right now. I'm working with Kingfisher. So these are actually the Kingfisher socks. And it's the Vanilla Latte sock pattern by Virginia Rose Jeans. And this is lovely.
Oh, very pretty.
And I didn't work on it a lot because Bullfinch has been taking a lot of attention. But yeah, it's really nice. It's got a lot of the same patterning that Bullfinch does. I mean, this blue and white, checkerboard section is like, I think, gray and white in Bullfinch.
It's very pretty.
But the colors are so different. You would not look at them and go like, oh, they're similar. Because they look nothing alike. Because it's such difference in colors. I mean, this is incredibly bright and springy, and the other is grays and like blacks and brownish kind of colors. And then you got, not browns and owl. Grays and blacks and like this orangey red and white. So very different for what's in here. And then I'll be doing for heels and toes.
Oh, that's pretty. I like that color. That's really close to my slate blue. Almost, it's a little different. But
and I have a couple of Worcestershire Spinners that this week playing a role in for heels and toes.
Cool.
So.
Okay, let me just put the stopper on this, so to speak, after I do this. Okay. Ouch. There we go. There we go. All right. Put this away. I'll worry about. I know I have gotten all these untangled before, so I don't know how they got tangled since I just put them in the bag again. All right. Okay.
Weaving in all those ends will be a whole lot of fun for you.
Okay.
And if the camera shook a little bit, sorry, Mom's bag rolled into it.
Yeah, it fell. All right, my next one is in my Country Roads. It's my Country Roads blanket from the Jelly Roll blanket pattern by K.F. Jones, and it's in my Beaming Country bag. This was from Brittany. Thank you, Brittany. It's so pretty. Isn't that cute? It's all country. It's all farmy. I'm still on the same row right now, and I'm still in the same square, but I'm really
not square. You said that they were.
Yeah, it's a panel, but I meant the color. I don't know what else to call this color. The color changes.
Yeah.
But this.
It's a rectangle more than it is a square.
Well, I was talking about from here to here.
Even that's not a square.
Yeah, it's fine. Can't bother me with semantics. Okay.
I did learn that much in geometry.
So anyway, this. I'm hoping to have a different color on here next week if I can have the chance to sit down and do it. I already finished Talia's birthday cupcakes, and that takes a fair amount of time to do, but
the house smelled heavenly with that.
But I still have to do a new to me recipe from her gluten-free, dairy-free recipe book. So among other things, so I'm hoping that I can get all the progress on these projects that I want to get done. But until the special things are finished and my kits are a little further along, I might be a little sparse on. I might have a fair amount of projects, but I might not have a lot done because I probably did them on the podcast.
Right.
So that's my way of doing it. This is basically garter stitch. So at least for the moment.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Yeah, it's just, I can just sit here, and as long as I don't do a short row or something.
Which she has been known to do.
Yes, then it should be just fine. Just moving along. And I want to make sure that when I change colors, I don't do it on an end.
Right.
Do it somewhere in the middle.
Right.
So.
Well, even if it's only a couple stitches before the end. Okay. Excuse me. So in my big skein in the little wool bag, the Velveteen Rabbit bag that Mom got me way back when. This holds the Vanilla Cream, excuse me, by K.F. Jones, and I'm calling this project the Rainbow Socks. And this basically gets worked on when I'm reading, whether aloud or otherwise.
That's pretty. Little micro stripes.
Right. And I was a little concerned I wouldn't care for the micro stripes, but it's really kind of fun.
It is. It's cute.
And it's going to have, one sock will have a purple heel and a green toe, and the other will have a green toe and a purple heel.
It makes me think of an ice cream parlor. You know, like with the carousel.
Right,
things
right.
And, you know, kind of a vintagey kind of. What did you call it again? Did you call it ice cream socks?
No, Rainbow Socks.
Rainbow socks. It reminds me of an ice cream parlor.
I could have even called it the blast, I just lost it. Yeah, can't remember what I was gonna say, but yeah.
Okay. I didn't expect you to finish your sentence that quickly. So what's my next one? Oh, my next one is...
I mean, there's nothing complicated about this pair of socks. I mean, it's straight stockinette very much.
Right. You can just...
It's meant to be a vanilla sock, I mean.
Who's it by again?
Okay.
Oh, it's Kay's?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was that one of her university ones?
No. This is actually a pattern of hers.
Okay.
It's always nice to have, you know, one or two really simple ones. Like, that's going to be for anything that's too...
Busy?
It's too busy for anything with a pattern.
So, when you said you wanted my unconventional candy canes, would you put it in that pattern or would you put it in something else?
It depends on how incredibly busy it is. It could work for that, or it could also work for the ones I had the peacock socks. The Kingfisher socks in.
It's not incredibly busy.
Yeah, because if there's a little bit, it doesn't matter. I mean...
Okay.
All my West Yorkshire spinners have some sort of pattern to it.
Mm-hmm.
I had the crunkled ones for the owl ones. And then I have Jemima for the bullfinch. And then for the Kingfisher, I have the vanilla latte.
Do you mind if I turn
Vanilla
off the fan?
cream latte, I think
I'm getting
it's-
cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I apologize.
there's a reason I haven't taken off my sweater at all and put on my shawl.
Yeah, I didn't realize you put on your shawl. I thought you had it on.
No, I put it on.
I haven't looked at you really, you know.
I feel like a Gorgon or something.
Yeah, you turn people into stone. Ice Baby is my next one. And this is in my owl bag. Okay. See, I might use my owl bag. This is the Ice Baby blanket from the Cerebel Scarf pattern. And, oops, here we go. I haven't made a whole bunch of progress on this because I haven't really worked on it. But, I do love the colors. It's just, I think it's called Aqua. Or Winter Aqua or something. Let me see here. Pattern. Did we say that this didn't have the color on here?
It didn't. It's a, it doesn't have the color on it.
Yeah, it's a Turkish yarn.
Yeah, it's a Turkish yarn, no colorway on it.
Yeah. So it's called ice yarn, and I think when I looked it up, the colorway was something aqua.
Oh, I mean,
I might be mistaken. It might be something else I'm thinking about.
Right.
But
yeah, she could be completely making that up.
it could be. Won't be the first time that I've mixed up the yarns because I was looking at a lot of yarns in a similar color.
What's the color you tend to like?
Yeah. Well, I went to Michael's one time with Daddy, and I almost picked up a yarn. I think that one was aqua, and I think that might be what I was thinking of.
Okay.
But this is, you know, like I said, Cerebel's. Between this and the scrap shawl, I seem to have the majority of my patterns are like 2 patterns. Except for what I'm knitting. So.
Well, I mean, you know what you like.
Well, and I know what I can handle right now.
Right.
It's just,
If you're enjoying it.
yeah, I mean, as long as, and hopefully they're not bored seeing it. It's just, and at least there's different yarn to look at.
Well, yeah.
It's not the same
I think
color
you would
difference.
get bored if it was.
Yeah. I like, I go through phases where I like routine where everything, you know,
Did you actually show that up to where people could see it? Or
I
you
thought
just
I
been working
did.
on it?
Let me see. I thought I had. Let me just.
Because you'll just sit there and waffle and not actually show anything.
Here we go. I thought I did, but
I can't remember if you did or
I'll
not.
show it again. So you can see it is growing. It's not going to be a super large baby blanket. Sorry, Taya.
No problem.
Super large baby blanket, but it's going to be nice for maybe a newborn or a preemie.
Right.
And it's actually pretty soft for an acrylic. I mean, I can remember when I first started out making baby blankets in Red Heart.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That stuff's bulletproof.
And it was not like Red Heart. Then I think it was before they had stuff like Red Heart
was
Soft
before
and
Red
stuff
Heart
like that.
Heart
It's
Soft.
just Red Heart, and it's like that. Cockroaches and Twinkies will survive the Holocaust. You know, the end of life as we know it. That will all be here. Oh boy, it'll be here.
Are you done?
I am.
Okay. So in my...
And I didn't mean to, to reference. I was thinking of Armageddon.
Okay.
As opposed to Holocaust.
Oh, you said Holocaust. I heard apocalypse. I don't know.
Yeah,
why
and that's what I meant to say, but I couldn't figure out the word, and Holocaust came out, which is
absolutely
not what I was trying to say.
not what you were trying to say.
No.
So I heard what you meant to say
Yeah.
instead of what you actually said.
And that's kind of scary, because I would not have referenced that, but
yeah. I think in my head I was like, that makes no sense, and so I went with what actually made sense.
what I wanted to say.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
So in my Slip Stitch Studios Firefly bag, this is actually a bag that's intended for having 2 yarns at a time. It has the little clips on each side of the bag, and it has pockets for each of the skeins of yarn. And the reason this is important is I was given a pattern by Pat, who is a PHNer,
Looney Hiker.
Looney Hiker, and she had given me her Graveyard Fields sock pattern.
Is that the one that she's put up for winning?
I guess. I don't know which one she's put up for
I think
winning.
that's one. I think that's one she's put up for prize.
So
So you guys see what it looks like.
I pulled some random gray yarn, did a gauge swatch. I actually ended up having to use US 2s, whereas she ended up using US 1s. And I decided that, even though I don't generally do toe-ups, I was going to do it this time. Even though she gave me tips of how to transfer it if I wanted to. So it's been a while since I've worked 2 at a time.
That's a pretty color.
Yeah, I don't know where I just had this random gray skein of yarn. And
That's really pretty. It almost has a mossy feel to it, even though it's not quite. It doesn't have any green in it.
yeah, and so there it's working up. I'm doing the size for the 9-inch circumference because that's what my foot is. And I, kind of set it out against a pair of socks I was wearing, laying flat against each other and look like they're the same size, because you always get nervous when you're working a pattern that you're not using your normal needle size. I usually use US 1s, but US 2 is what I got the gauge with, so I went with it. And yeah, actually quite a bit of work got done. I wanted to show this on PHN Live, but Pat, you weren't there, so it didn't get shown. I didn't want people to see it before you did. So
She said she's going to try to make the Zoom.
yeah, well, it was my fault. I didn't post. Actually, I need to set up the stuff for the Zoom and everything. But yeah, this has been fun. I mean, it's worked up really quickly, as you can see.
It's very pretty. I like that would have been a nice colorway for Daddy, actually.
Yeah, well, he couldn't have. This is fingering.
Oh, okay. What does that have to do with anything?
I wasn't doing dad's and fingering.
Oh, okay.
I did his in like.
No,
sport
I
or
meant
bikini.
in the future.
Oh yeah. I think I went with the same weight his current socks were,
Right.
just because I figured
Well,
he likes them. Why mess with what works?
Right.
Because he's already apparently happy with them.
He does wear his socks.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if he'd be quite as happy with them if they're not quite as warm and snuggly. He can wear non-warm and snuggly normal socks. Because these are going to have more of a feel of normal socks because they're, fingering weight.
I like the extra cushion of the heavier weight.
The only thing is that they don't, my experience is that they haven't held up as well. Now, to be fair...
Well, if you have nylon in it.
Yeah. Or if it's really tight. Usually it seems to have to be nylon with the heavier weights. But this yarn here, which is undead yarn, And then your ones that I made from the Plum Deluxe, the first batch of that yarn, they hold up really well. I have not had to, knock on wood, darn either of them yet. So I'm thinking you and Heidi used the same base, and that's why both of these pairs of socks are holding up well. I bet you anything the ones that like this that I knit for you, and this is what I'm talking about, that they're holding pretty well too. Yours are like a brownish color and the blue, because these were Nightcrawler and yours were Shadowcat.
Right.
So, yes, I kind of just I hang this on off of one of my desk drawers, and I just keep this on my desk, and this is what I work on. I just pick it up and start working on it on my desk because it's got a little bit of pattern to it. It's not something I'm going to be working on if I'm not able to focus on it. It's just always hanging off my desk, so it's always just waiting.
Hangs out.
Yep.
Hangs out at the corner of...
It's not something I'm going to take to bed because I'll be afraid of taking one sock off because my cable probably isn't as long as I would prefer it to be. It works.
You're talking about your needle cable.
My needle cable. Yeah, and I probably should... I didn't have a longer needle cable in the needles that I needed, so I just worked with what I had. And it's about what she recommends. I would have preferred a little bit longer of a cable just because then I won't feel like my sock's trying to escape.
Right.
But so far, neither of them have escaped. Okay, so that's my last
Okay.
whip.
Let me just finish this one. The
That-
stitch.
And that leaves us under frogs, right?
Not yet. I have.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you.
I might have one more pattern. I think I have one more to show. I just
forgot.
want to finish this stitch because I figured out. I think was I working on the Cerebel when I couldn't figure out? I pulled it back, or was I working on the scrap?
You work on circle.
Okay, so I figured out what I was doing.
Okay, I'm going to pull this out a little bit while you're going over the next project. I'll be back.
Okay. Just want to finish this really quick here.
And the reason I went in front of her instead of around is our camera setup is really precarious.
Right. Okay, let me find the... Okay, there it is. My next project, my last project, is in my Universal Studios canvas bag, blue bag. And it is my Virtual Hugs shawl. And this is another scrap shawl pattern that I started. And I've been wanting to work on this one because it's new and the colors are kind of out of my preferred colors. Well, that's not even true. I don't wear these colors. I like to work with them, but I don't like to wear them. That was good. So let me see if I can find it here. Here it is. Whoops. There we go. So you can see I made some progress. It is growing. It looks like a Barbie shawl. And I'm not sure... Let's see, I do have a yarn, another skein of this yarn, so I can tell you what the colorway is. Except that, oh, here we go. It's a Malabrigo. The colorway, I think, is Lotus. And it's Rastita. So I'm not sure if this is a sport or a DK, but it's... I'm kind of using DK sport mostly in this, maybe occasional worsted, mostly DK sport. So this is the start. I've got a whole bunch of yarns in here that I showed you last week, some of the ones that Talia gave me to kind of work in with it. And it's mostly purples and greens, maybe a little bit of pinks. And I'll go a little bit further on this before I switch colors. I just have to sit down and I've a couple of times put an order for colors and then didn't put it down properly on the yarn. So I need to sit down and put something on each yarn so I know which one goes where. It's not a strictly speaking planned shawl, but because some of the colorways are so different, I want to make sure they kind of work together.
She always plans them.
Well,
to some
kind of, kind of plan them. You know, I don't want them to look.
She doesn't go
cherished.
eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Not when there's this many variegateds in there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's my last project. It's just, this one is the one I've been wanting to work on. This one and, I forget what the other one was that I worked a lot on, but when I decided, oh, I'm going to actually work on a project instead of eating popcorn
Right.
or something. So, let me just...
that leads to some frogs. I'll just talk about my frogs first because
Okay.
I don't have anything to show.
Okay.
When I started the graveyard field sock, I went ahead, I looked at my watermelon socks, neon watermelon socks. Love the yarn. Pattern's really nice too. KF Jones pattern, Mom's yarn. The yarn and the pattern didn't go well together. The yarn was too busy for the pattern to show. So I ripped that out. That yarn will be going into a pair of vanilla socks once I'm finished with my current pair of vanilla socks. So it'll still have the black heels like I planned. It just, for both the yarn and the pattern to both get their best showing, though that yarn does not need to be paired with that pattern. It shouldn't be. So
No, it doesn't allow either one of them to shine.
exactly. So I'm a lot happier with that decision, and it made me feel less guilty about starting another pair of socks.
Okay, now let me just kind of move the projects.
Because I don't do, moderation apparently.
No, you don't. I'm gonna move these up here so I can see what I'm doing for my frogs. I didn't have a chance to frog everything I wanted to frog, but I did frog a few. Okay. Let's see here. So at the frog pond, we will go visiting. In my woodland creatures bag, this is a plover bird bag, was my Who I'll Help Cook and Clean pattern by Amy Marie. There's nothing wrong with this pattern. In fact, I was actually making good progress on it, but it's meant to be a washcloth, and I don't even have it anymore, so I can't show it to you. Here's the yarn. And if it's meant to be a washcloth, it has to be in cotton. And for some reason, I was having trouble with the mosaic and the cotton.
I think also it was before you started using the knit picks.
Maybe. I don't
Because
remember.
you didn't start using the knit picks one until I kept raving about how I loved that cotton.
Right. So here is what I don't know what I would have done with this. I was thinking, I'll hang it on the wall or whatever. No, there was no reason for me to do it. Even though I like the pattern and everything like that, I like doing mosaic. I
Have
pulled
you
it out.
finished anything mosaic yet?
I have several things going in mosaic, and I made progress. My bookmark that I started years ago is almost finished. I just haven't finished it. The next one that I frogged is the Play It Again scarf project. I was working on a pattern, and I just decided, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. It's in my Silver Shed USA black and blue Star Wars bag. I can't even remember what the pattern was that I was copying.
Yeah.
So I just frogged it. It's right here. This is James C. Brett. I love the color. I wasn't enjoying it. I just wasn't. When I can't fix my own patterns,
Right.
it's a problem.
No, it is.
So that's one of them.
Because it really takes out your enjoyment of it because you have to
Right.
depend on someone else.
Right. My next one is in my Silver Shed USA blue Foon in the Woman Cave bag, and this was a baby sweater, the Sherwood baby sweater, from the First Journey hoodie pattern by Lena
Leah Lamont?
Skavergson.
I have no idea where you're
I
at.
think right here.
Oh,
I think
that looks
it's
almost like a Norwegian
Scandinavian,
name or
yeah,
something.
Scandinavian. So here's the yarn, and I'm not. I don't want to do sweaters right now.
So she's not.
So I pulled it. Doesn't care if it's a baby sweater. I don't care if it's an adult sweater.
Don't wanna.
Don't wanna.
Don't want, I don't have to.
And I might pick up a cardigan or something and try again, but
Nah.
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 No.
Nah.
Okay. Yeah, I pulled out another one that I never showed you. Davina's gonna get the yarn. It's this gray yarn. It was a toy, so I'm gonna give Davina the yarn. I told her I show on the podcast and I give it to her. I'm not really in the mood for toys right now. I haven't been for a while. I'm not sure why, because I love toys. I love making toys.
Well, have you just not been able to potentially have the focus to do the counting that you need to for toys?
It could be, or it could just be that I'm not wanting to sew.
That could be too.
So 'cause I'm kind of gravitating to the ones that are like one piece, So, all right, let's see. The other two I haven't had a chance to frog yet, so
Okay.
that takes care of that.
Alrighty, so, talked about my frog. Do you have any FOs?
I do not.
Okay, and I have one. I started it last night and I finished it last night. So come here.
So cute.
This is Cuppa,
Should be Chip.
but she has no chip.
She doesn't.
And this is some of Mom's yarn. It's an early dye. It was supposed to be a flame robin. It never became that. I chose to do in bulky weight yarn because it called for a G hook. I know my gauge that I tend to use because they wanted me to use a worsted yarn. I use like an E.
I don't even use a G hook for toys for worsted weight.
So this is it was either chunky or a bulky or something like that. So I just went and I did that for a G. So I didn't want this itty bitty 2.5 inch cup.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted bigger than that. So he will sit, or she I guess, will sit among my mugs. And
She doesn't spill.
nope, she doesn't. And yeah, she'll be perfect. She makes me happy with her little cheeks. Now, I
Adorable.
refuse to do the little eyelashes. I think they look dumb. They had that as an option. I don't put eyelashes on toys. I generally just don't like the way they look.
No, I don't either.
So,
As a potential for something to just pull out.
but yeah,
Cute.
I'm happy with this.
Do you show Daddy yet?
No, I have not. But yeah, that turned out well. It was a nice, quick, quick gratification.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification. So, yes. Stash enhancements.
I don't have any.
Okay, so we're still determining whether or not Mom actually has this book. If she does, I get to keep this. If she doesn't, I have to give it back.
I'm pretty sure that I do have it.
So, Woman for a Time, it's
Yeah.
about one of the important members of the Pauline family, Pauline religious family. So, looking forward to reading this. And then, this is where Cuppa comes from. Whimsical Stitches.
Don't get to write it. You're on chain.
Yes, no, I won't forget. I'm hoping to maybe take a picture and print it out for her. And this is by Lauren S.B. And there's a lot of adorable patterns in here. A bunch of snacky type things.
That's Cuppa right there.
Yep, that's Cuppa right there. That's for the eyelashes too. But
I wouldn't do the nose either. I love this.
this
is so
one is the
cute.
first I was like, oh, so cute. The mallard. So, yeah, there's just a bunch of cute things in here. And, they were really cute. I'm not sure what page it's on. They have a cute turtle in here, too.
There it is. No, that's the
No,
cactus.
that's a cactus.
There
There
it
it is. Let me...
Aw.
So, there's just a ton of cute little patterns in here. I would have never thought I'd be making a mug with a face on it,
It's cute.
but it's adorable. And, I mean, I might have to make a donut or something to go with it. Be automatically gluten-free.
Yeah.
And they have eggs. You can put in an egg carton if you want to.
Yeah.
And it's
Fun
just
for
a
Easter.
it's a cute collection. Their sections are in the garden, at the aquarium, down on the farm, at the market, at the bakery. So, and yeah, it's a really nice little pattern book.
Very cute.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I have a, little decoration that I didn't have. There we go. I always have to adjust the bottom a little bit so
If
that
you
was
had done
just
it with the smaller weight and you could have a Christmas tree with teacups.
right, and that might be an option at some point. But
Well, you'd have to make it really small, though.
right, well, maybe
I mean, that would fit on our tree, but
Yeah.
we have a big tree.
yes, we do. We have actually be a perfect size for because we have ornaments that size. I don't know why I'm looking over. Our tree's not up anymore, but.
Okay, what's next?
So that leads us on to shop news. I don't have a lot. Haven't really had much of a chance to work on designs. Really, I haven't gotten over the mixture of weather and holidays and everything. And with the new bout of weather coming in, it's knocked me for a loop.
Yeah. Okay, I've almost got the main part of my yarn dyeing finished. I had a session of dyeing yarn, so I did some more skeins for the kits. So that is moving forward. And I also did a special order, and she was very gracious and said I could show it on the podcast before I send it out. So she special ordered these yarns. The first two are on my Sparkle DK base. This one is, of course, unconventional candy canes. I showed you this one a while back when I had done a different, I had put in my shop around Christmas time. So that's this one. And this one sold out really fast, the unconventional candy canes. And then she pulled out one of my oldies but goodies. This is my favorite teddy bear. My favorite teddy bear. And
AKA Pookie?
No. This is based on my favorite teddy bear as a child. And I don't know what happened to it. He was so cute because he had brown fur, and you can see the golden undertones in this. Not too well on the camera, but it has some golden undertones. He had a brown fur and a gold, kind of goldy browny kind of chest, and then his eyes were golden. And he lost one eye, and my mom put a button on it, so he looked like Pete the Pirate or something. So I loved him to pieces, and I don't know what happened to him. So
Literally to pieces since he missed an eye.
Yes. And then this is the cask of Amontillado.
Good job.
And this is my large worsted. And I was really happy with the way this colorway turned out. So these I can always make if people like them. I will be doing more yarn dyeing soon. I have to finish up the ones for the kit, and I have some dye stock that I don't want to go bad, so I want to make sure I use that to make to put in the shop as well. I'm still not sure if I'm going to have a little sale for the weekend on my birthday. My birthday's on a Sunday, so maybe I'll do a couple days, like maybe Thursday through Monday or something like that for my birthday at the end of the month, which means that February 1st it would be finished.
I'm having a birthday sale. My birthday's this week.
Her birthday's Wednesday.
Yes.
So, so that's, basically I have for the shop. Just keep an eye on the shop for updates. And I have another special order that I have to work on. She's going to be very patient with me. She said that she knows, I've got things to do and everything. She says not time sensitive. So I appreciate that. I thank both her and my other special order very much for their business. Yeah. Okay, so what's next?
That usually leads us on to books. Let me open my show notes.
Okay, well, you're finding yours. Did I finish anything? No. I'm still reading my Daily Prayer 2022 and A Woman for Our Times. I did actually read that because I want to get through it so I can start Blessed Timothy Giacardo.
Well, if you started, then obviously this isn't the copy.
Well, I want you to look at it just to make sure, I finished listening to Unexpected Guest by Agatha Christie and started Appointment with Death, also by Agatha Christie. I'm listening to that. And I'm reading an ebook on tea. I forget what the name of it is. So basically that's what I'm doing.
So I finished a few things. One audiobook and two Kindle books. So the first one was The Horse and His Boy by C.S. Lewis, and that's the Audible audiobook. Then this is one I've been working on for a while, and I finally finished it. Queen of the Conqueror, The Life of Matilda, Wife of William I by Tracy Borman. And I blame Mom for this, but I have started on Patricia Wentworth.
She's excellent.
She is she was writing around the same time as Agatha Christie and Dorothy L. Sayers. So I read, I don't have number one of the Miss Silver mystery series. She wrote like 35 Miss Silvers, and then she has a bunch of other books. But I read number 2 because that's what I had. And it's The Case is Closed. Really enjoyed it. I did figure out who did it before the end, which is actually rare for me. Agatha Christie always pulls the wool over my eyes. So I don't expect Patricia Wentworth to pull an Agatha Christie. All that matters to me is it's an enjoyable read. Because I had to figure it out probably within the first couple of chapters. I just wanted to see how they worked their way to it. But I was pretty sure I knew who it was. And I was pretty sure I knew how they managed it within the first few chapters. which is not very common for me. Usually I'm pretty dense. Agatha Christie will 100% of the time, like, trick me. But I did enjoy this. And so I will be reading more of them. I really enjoyed the characters that she created.
I found that I can sometimes guess who it is for Agatha Christie, but as much as my favorite books, The Unexpected Guest was not my favorite book.
Well, that's also a hard one because that was a screenplay.
Well, my point is with this is that I got to the point where it could have been, and that I didn't expect the twist at the very end. And so, which was interesting. I mean,
She usually throws something in there where you second guess everything because everything is important.
Yeah.
Nothing is in there by chance. And she just has, as she has characters accused Poirot of, she has a tortuous mind.
It's just, I to be honest, I looked at that guy and I was like, no, that can't be it. Because I have weird mind. I'm like, I look at everything.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, maybe it's him and this and this. I'm like, well, no, that can't be right. And I think I was looking at it the wrong way. I was thinking that maybe he was the son, but the son died.
Right.
So, it's just like,
she gives you enough information so you can mislead yourself, but she also gives you all the information you need. So when you look back, you can see that she laid the groundwork for it. It's not like it came out of left field.
Right.
The groundwork was laid. It just maybe not as much emphasis was put on it where you would have really picked up on it, but she didn't trick you. I mean, she tricked you, but she wasn't unfair about it.
Right.
She was playing the game.
Right. Stop playing the game. Murder is not a game.
So,
Poirot does not approve of murder.
No, he does not. So then I was reading, I started reading again Until Christ Be Formed in You by Blessed James Alberioti. Started reading again Maids, Wives, Widows, Exploring Early Modern Women's Lives, 1540 to 1740 by Sarah Reed. I had to switch over from the physical form to the Kindle form for this book because the print was so small, I wasn't reading it. I could read it, but I couldn't read it in the dark. And it was getting to the point where I would do anything but read this book in its physical form. Because this is a book that it's got to be headed into like 500 pages.
Right.
It's a thick book. And I finally was just like, this book is going to Goodwill, the physical form. I have the Kindle form. Plus I have his War of the Roses on Kindle form. It just made more sense to read the Kindle form. So
Is that a Dan
Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've watched his series on the Plantagenets also. And then I've been reading The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. They're about to go and talk to Saruman where he's stuck at Orthanc after the Ents marooned him there. And then I've been reading Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. Now that one has some beautiful print for someone who just wants to rest their eyes and read something on physical form. Get yourself a nice cup of tea. No straining your eyes with that one. And started reading continued reading Never Bet Against Occam, and that's a reference to Occam's razor. So never bet against Occam. And the idea of Occam's razor is if there is a way to explain something more efficiently with one explanation versus like two really convoluted ones, it's probably the more simple of the explanations.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, apparently it's like basically the idea is you're trimming away the fat and trimming away the fat and trying to get
You're being succinct.
Right, exactly. It's like, okay, it's unlikely it's gonna be this crazy. Well, Poirot says similar things. He's like, it's not always gonna be most convoluted. What's the most simple? Okay, who usually kills somebody? It's usually their spouse or somebody close to, it's not necessarily gonna be this crazy convoluted story. So, Occam's razor, Never Bet Against Occam, Mast Cell Activation Disease, and the Modern Epidemics of Chronic Illness.
Slow down.
Sorry. Never Bet Against Occam, Mast Cell Activation Disease, and the Modern Epidemics of Chronic Illness and Medical Complexity. Yes, that is the title.
Take up the whole front of the book.
Yeah, by Lawrence B. Afrin, MD. And this came out, I want to say this is like a 2008 book. And this was back when mast cell was really just becoming known. He was one of the people really pushing pioneering the understanding of mass activation. It really wasn't being looked at until he started pushing things. So that tells you how new this diagnosis is. And then I've been reading a free from Amazon book, if you have Amazon Prime, A Hobbit, a Wardrobe, and a Great War, How J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis Rediscovered Faith, Friendship, and Heroism, is the Cataclysm of 1914 to 1918. So, another long title, and this is by Joseph LeConte. Thankfully, a short title, Migraine by Oliver Sacks, that's an Audible book. And then the other Audible book is The Voyage of the Dawn Treader by C.S. Lewis. So yes, much readings. And these are the 3 physical ones that I was talking about. My lovely dog-eared copy of Two Towers. My Fellowship of the Rings and The Hobbit are like this as well. Unfortunately, my Return of the King is really pristine and stuff, and so are the rest of my Tolkien books because they're new.
See, my copy of the trilogy is falling apart.
I got these used.
I have mine is a box set, and it's falling apart.
Yeah, I love it's so torn up and lovely, and it smells like old book, and you could see where it had to be taped to keep it together. Actually, I might have done the taping for this one because the cover was going to fall off. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did the taping for this one. So, yeah, it's awesome when you have a book like that. And I mean, this is brand spanking new, so it doesn't have any of that. But, yes, I will do the wearing on this. And since I generally read through Jane Austen once a year, these books will get worn. And eventually they will, maybe the covers won't look as bad as this one.
Well, that one spent time in bookstores.
Right. I mean, it takes a while for a cover to become this supple. Honestly, it's something that this has been passing from hand to hand to hand to hand.
Well, probably that copy's probably before we had Kindle books.
Yes, I mean, I'm thinking that, it doesn't even have a section for the ISBN.
Complete and unabridged. Synopsis.
Because not like whereas books now, they'll have the ISBN stamped on the the beginning cover.
I'm just looking for the copyright year.
It doesn't have it.
It should have something.
If it does, it's somewhere down here, but I don't think it's... Because here's the...
Complete and unabridged. It doesn't...
It usually would be up in there front, because I think I looked.
Sometimes they'll put things in the back.
Nothing's in the back here.
That's really strange.
This is why I'm thinking this might be a really old copy. Because maybe...
Ace book, 50 cents. 1965. This is a... Yeah.
So this is an old book.
Ace books.
And that makes it...
Send price indicated plus 5 cents handling fee.
Okay, yeah, this is an old book.
Yeah.
And actually...
Look at this. Atlantidina, 40 cents. Outside the Universe, 40 cents. When the Sleeper Wakes, 40 cents. These are books.
For 40 cents.
For 40 cents.
Yeah, that makes sense. So this is an old book.
50 cents for this one. Must be a long one. 45 cents for Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne. So,
wow. 45 cents, huh?
Yeah, 45
cents. So this
cents.
book, that's why it's so supple and stuff. Like, it takes a lifetime for a book to get this way. Probably passing from hand to hand to hand to hand.
Yeah, this copy, I don't know when it was actually this one was copyrighted because there is no copyright on here. There's no
Well, I think they did things differently back then.
Huh.
And I think my copy of The Hobbit and of The Fellowship of the Rings might be in similar, time period. I wouldn't be surprised.
I've never even heard of Ace books.
All of my ones that I have, from this set, they're Ace books.
A5, Ace books, science fiction, classic A5, Lord of the Rings, book 2. A4 is the Fellowship of the Ring. A5. I wonder if they consider Hobbit A3.
Huh.
Or if they consider that different.
Yeah, this is a very old copy.
I don't have any idea what the A designation means.
Yeah. It looks like this might have been 75 cents each.
Yeah.
So, back in the day, this book went for 75 cents. So.
Can't even get that used bookstore for 75 cents.
No, I don't think I got this for 75 cents at the used bookstore.
Probably $1.25 or something.
Yeah, probably something like that. So, yes, these are the kind of things that you love and you hang on to. As much as you love your pristine copies, that this will be all my wear and tear because this will get worn and torn by me. It's not gonna look anything like this by the time I'm done because it's just gonna be me.
You never know.
True. But also I think covers
It
are
will be
made
real.
I think the covers are made differently then.
This almost feels like it was cardstock at one time or something.
That's what I'm saying. It does. I think the covers are.
This has got some kind of it's still cardstock, but it's got some laminate or something.
Yeah,
on
I
it.
feel like the covers are a little bit sturdier now than what they used to be. This, I mean, covers aren't going to bend like this. I mean, this has bend marks on it.
That will crease.
Yes, this will crease. This, well, I mean, you can see
creases,
this is broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's torn. So, yeah, very different ways of making books. I mean, if you look compared to the Jane Austen, you have the first print, you have the ISBN, you have who published this edition, and what address, where it was printed and bound. Like, you don't. My book does not have those kind of things.
It has where it was printed. I think it had one of the things.
It was very, like, low on amount of information it gave. This, just for anyone who's curious, this set is interesting. It actually has annotations. So it'll be like, okay, they're talking about, I'm trying to find, okay, so they talk about something called sarsenet, and they have a little star there. At the bottom they say, a very fine silk.
That's cool.
So it's like, if you're not familiar with some of the things in this time period, which is Regency, you are educated with really quick annotations. So
Yeah, so this is Ace Books and Company, Avenue of the 1120 Avenue of Americas, New York, 10036. So it gives you that much information.
I'm not sure if you'd get anything if you sent stuff back to that address now.
No. I'm just saying that this is where you were saying it doesn't have any of that. It does have some, not everything though. It's very strange.
It's very different time period. What's provided in this book and what's provided in this book.
Okay, can we move on?
Yes.
Okay.
But,
Anything else?
No, not really.
Okay, so we don't have really much in the way of life stuff, I don't think, do we? I mean,
No, not really.
not really. So,
Oh, maybe some about the birthday stuff we're going to be doing. Because Mom's going to be making from my everything gluten-free, dairy-free cookbook a chicken and dumplings recipe I found. We're leaving the veggies out because that's weird. Mom's going to make her special green bean recipe on the side. And then I found a gluten-free, dairy-free mashed potatoes recipe that looks like it'll be good. And if it works out, then I can actually have mashed potatoes. So I'm basically having like my own miniature Cracker Barrel meal, which is cool. Then Mom's cupcakes.
also gluten-free dairy.
Also gluten-free,
From that
dairy-free.
book.
And we found out that
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A has gluten-free. And if you check, you can make sure it's dairy-free as well. So that's what we usually have a meal that's taken or go out or whatever for Saturday, and then you have the meal in. And I haven't really, there's not a whole lot of options for me, and I haven't wanted to actually go out forever. So when we found out Chick-fil-A had those options, I'll have one of their gluten-free buns. And what I do is I gather all the ingredients together and I make it when it comes. Because they say they don't make it there because they can't risk cross-contamination. So you can get your sealed bun, your sealed chicken fillet. If you want to, you can get the chicken fillet nuggets. And then they tell you what sauces are. Their site is awesome. Check out their site. They have a section so you know all their things that are gluten-free, including their waffle chips. Their waffle
Oh, cool.
French fries.
I'm going to have to take a look because I'm trying to do as much gluten-free, dairy-free as I can because my stomach is being cranky.
Well, I'll show you what I put together for my
well-
potential order. I took a screenshot. And yeah, it was. I thought that made me happy because otherwise I was going to just end up having gluten-free, dairy-free pizza again, which is great. But when that's your only option for going out, you get kind of sick of it. So yeah.
Okay, so that takes care of that. Before we leave, we want to thank all the people who commented either on YouTube or in our PHN home. I did see them and read them. I think I basically liked everything. I haven't had a chance to answer. But
I haven't been on. I've had a bit of a rough week.
We very much appreciate the fact that you communicate with us. So thank you very much. Please continue to do so, even if we are slow to respond. We want to thank Brittany, Kara, Looney Hiker, Wendy, who is MacGyver, Joan, Angis Hip, And Rena, thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
If we didn't mention you, it's because I didn't see your name before we podcasted. But we appreciate everyone who comments. We love reading your comments, and we are grateful for them, as we are for you. We want to wish you all a very blessed week, a blessed Martin Luther King holiday if you celebrate.
It probably doesn't mean much of anything if you're not in the States.
Yeah, a blessed week
See,
full
down
of
go all the books.
knitting, crocheting, crafting, whatever it is that makes your heart happy. And we ask you, please stay safe during this weather.
Especially if you have weather where you're at.
And we'll see you here for the Foot in the Woman Cave next week. This is the Pen, Hook, and Needles podcast, episode 488, and that's a wrap.
Bye.